I dub thee Sir Gutter. Hey, gang. Oh, boy. How are you? Kevin Goatee here, gutting the sacred cow. You know, the best movie review, movie debate podcast out there. Kat Rosenfield is going to join us this time because she thinks that the 2003 Best Picture winner, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, just flat out stinks. I enlisted the help of my buddy Adam Sank to come on and sit in as co-host. Can Kat Rosenfield gut the sacred cow? Can she abdicate Return of the King? Only one way to find out. Let's hit it. Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan. Adam Sank, guest co-host. How are you, pal? What's going on?
I'm good. How are you doing, Kevin? It's good to be
Great,
back.
sir. I'm glad to have you back. Can you name that film? Avoid the clap, Jimmy Dugan.
I can't name that film.
Our guest is Kat Rosenfield. Kat, how are you?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
You're so welcome. Kat, do you know what that quote is from? Where that quote is from?
I believe that is from A League of Their Own,
Kat,
by
the
Tom Hanks.
circle gets the square. Yes, my dear, you are correct. Kevin Goatee, Adam Sank joining us. Welcome to the funniest movie review / movie debate podcast out there, where we give the guests the platform who have unpopular opinions about our most popular movies. Well done, Kat. Today, Kat is going to anger a bunch of you nerds, which always makes me laugh. Kat has chosen the absolute mega classic, Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, the third one of the trilogy. Wowie zowie, a 2003 release, the budget at the time, $98 million. A box office haul at the time of $1.146 billion. Turn that into 2023 money. A $151 million budget, a box office haul of $1.766 billion.
That's a lot.
Wow.
This is Avengers Endgame, Avatar, and of course Mighty Ducks 3 money we're talking right here, kids. IMDb, as we know, is a scale 1 through 10 with decimal points. Kat, what do you think Lord of the Rings Return of the King has scored?
Ooh, let's see. That's sort of a normie audience, right? But normie movie buffs. I'm going to guess an 8.2.
Adam Sank.
I'm going to guess that nerds probably overran IMDb to vote, and it's probably higher than that, like 9.3.
9 flat.
Wow.
So Kat wins by Price is Right rules, but I'm closer.
Fair, and that's true. Rotten Tomatoes, folks, as we know, is a scale 1 through 100. Adam, what did the critics give Lord of the Rings Return of the King?
Well, I'm going to play it safe and say, I'm sorry. What is the scale on Rotten Tomatoes again?
1 through 100, sir.
Yeah, I'm going to say 90.
90. Kat?
Well, now I want to try to outdo myself, so I guess I'm going to say 94.
One of you, well, if this is Price the Right rules, one of you just missed it and one of you wins. 93%.
Price is Right rules.
Kat missed it by 1%. Well done nonetheless. We're going to go back to Kat. Kat, what do you think the audience scored this film?
Oh. Well, 89. I think some of the nerds were probably discontented and decided to take it out on Rotten Tomatoes.
Adam Sank, your guess?
Just for fun, I'll go even lower and say 85.
86.
Ah!
That is 2 showcases on The Price is Right.
Thank you.
Someone just won a Toyota Yaris and a trip to an all-inclusive resort in Jamaica. I don't know which one's worse.
I used to drive a Toyota Yaris, and it was my favorite car that I've ever owned. Great little car.
Really? I've never known anyone own that inside the United States. It's only a Caribbean island specialty, I thought.
Loved it. It was a rental car before I owned it, but it never gave me any trouble.
Well, that's a commercial for Toyota I'll never get paid for. Quotes. My friends, you bow to no one. I thought that was a cool quote. I dug that one. Kat, any quotes jump out at you?
Ooh. I really like how they title the movie at the very end. Sam looks over Frodo's shoulder and says, Lord of the Rings by Frodo Baggins.
All right. And it said Return of the King underneath that too. That was cute.
Yeah, a little subtitle emerges as they look at it, like Hollywood style.
I like how they brought that kind of aspect back because if you recall, like, especially 90s action films, they would always find a way to shoehorn the title in the dialogue. You know, like, well, you know, after I shot the president, that was an executive decision. Classic. Adam Sank, any quotes for this film?
I don't have any for this film, but I'll tell you my favorite quote from The Fellowship of the Ring.
Oh, why is that you have a quote from Fellowship of the Ring, Adam Sank?
Because I misunderstood the assignment. Okay? I fucked up. I've never seen any of these goddamn movies, and when Kevin asked me to co-host, I just assumed wrongly that we were going to be talking about the first one, which I again had never seen. So I had a little viewing party at my house. I had some gay guys over, and we all watched Fellowship of the Ring. And I've never seen Return of the King. But my favorite line from Fellowship of the Ring is, "You will taste man flesh."
You guys and your gaggle of gays must have jumped in the air and given the most awkward high five, but amazingly passionate tongue kiss, I bet.
No, we just said, been there, done that.
It's funny. That's what I say to my husband every time I'm serving dinner.
Hey-o.
Zing. So this is a very unquote worthy film. So we're just going to move along to 5 fun facts. Once the trilogy was finished shooting, Peter Jackson gave one of the rings used in the movie to Elijah Wood and the other to Andy Serkis. Both Wood and Serkis both thought they had the only one.
The old
Texas switch.
Yes, something like that.
Of course, we're exclusively dating. Duh.
Yeah.
You know, it'd be funny if all the main cast asked for a film and Peter Jackson just gave everybody a cock ring and says, "Here you go, have fun."
Well, we were commenting that the ring would be rather small if it were a cock ring. That would be a disappointing cock.
Can you imagine
They're
that?
hobbits.
I was just going to say the hobbits.
Elijah Wood thought it was a cock ring.
Yeah. Can you imagine that
he just found out?
They drop their pants and they're slinging down a baby's arm down there? That'd be hilarious.
They do have those big hairy feet, so you never know.
We'll get into that for sure. Number 2, this trilogy shares the record for the most nominated film in Academy Award history. The Lord of the Rings films, all three, have received 30 nominations, surpassing the Godfather trilogy, 28, and sharing the record with the Star Wars franchise. The Return of the King has the highest, quote, perfect score at the Academy Awards, meaning they won every award they were nominated for. They won 11 awards out of 11 nominations.
Wow. That is a shock.
I mean, that is impressive as all hell.
Yeah.
Number 3, Elijah Wood was hospitalized after the prop of Shalob's stinger, I guess it's a spider, actually caused a puncture wound.
Well, I'm glad he's okay.
Yeah. No infection or any venom. Can you imagine rolling into an ER in New Zealand and there's this big spider, stinger in your chest going, damn it.
Freak accident.
They say, listen, they're more used to seeing guys coming in getting some kind of STD from a sheep in New Zealand. Can sheep give STDs? I don't know. Let's find out.
I have to imagine.
Viggo Mortensen estimates that during the course of filming the entire trilogy, including all the takes, that he, quote, killed every stuntman on the production at least 50 times. And killed Adam Sank in his dreams, and Adam was just adoring in love with that fella.
I mean, there's a few ways I'd like Viggo Mortensen to kill me, for sure.
Especially in Eastern Promises, I assume.
Delicious. We were actually talking about that at my viewing party.
Why am I not surprised?
You know the mind of gay men so well, Kevin.
Oh, when you're in comedy and business, you pick it up. So I'm gay friendly. What can I tell you? The amount of money that New Line Cinema reclaimed in tax breaks on the 3 Lord of the Rings movies was 10 times more than the annual budget of the New Zealand Film Commission, which funds local filmmaking.
That doesn't seem right.
Right.
Why should they get tax breaks? It's a purely for-profit venture, and they made quite a bit of profit, as you revealed to us earlier on.
Yes, sir. That's a lot of money. God damn, my God, all those tax breaks, man. These facts weren't that fun. I'll be quite honest. I was disappointed, and I culled through many a fact here, Kat and Adam, and this is the best of the worst. So your silence speaks volumes, but I understand why.
I mean, the movies aren't fun either. So what are you gonna do?
Okie dokie. Let's go right to the audience. And I can't wait to see them unsheath their swords in Ask a Gutter. At pedestrian at best, is it acceptable to turn the movie off after they're rescued by eagles? Or how many endings do you have to watch? Also, the books are better. So, is it okay to turn off after the eagles? Or how many endings do you have to watch, Kat? That question is for you. You alone.
I feel like that's more a question than a comment, but I give this person permission to turn the movie off after the eagles, which I think is its third ending of approximately 37.
Right. Which is why I specified to everybody, we don't watch the director's cut. We only watch the theatrical because I value my time like my guests. At So Wizard Podcast, hey, Kat, why do you hate everything that's good and just triumphing over evil and big gross spiders?
Because I love to see you cry.
Zing. At Zyphos, why do the roughly 37 endings to Return of the King when the scouring of the Shire was right there? That's, I guess, a book question. I did not read the books, so I assume that you have not as well.
I certainly haven't.
Yes.
Too long ago to be able to answer that with any kind of authority.
One of my favorite names on this thread, Hey, would you blow me? At LOL, you replied. Hey, Kat, what did you think of Amazon's Rings of Power?
Ooh, not a fan. Not a fan because of what they did to Galadriel. It was like they kind of girl bossed her up, and that was no good. Didn't work.
Okay, so you are a quasi fan, being you've watched the series. Okay, next one. They call this a movie at TCTAM Pod. In the pantheon of Lord of the Rings, I've only seen Return of the King, and I saw it in the theaters. Is there a movie series that you have watched in the incorrect order?
Oh, we almost made that happen for you, but no, you had to go watch the first one.
Yeah, Adam.
I tried watching in the correct order. That was the problem.
Yeah. Hilarious. By the way, you Shelly Martinez this, and I'll explain. Shelly Martinez, a friend of the podcast, she said, I want to do Dumb and Dumber. Well, Shelly actually watched Dumb and Dumber 2 instead of Dumb and Dumber.
I would never make that mistake. I would always assume that it was the first installment of anything because it's always the best one.
Right. Not always. Not always. There are, I'll give you my list of films that are better later on. Next, at Brandon Oglesby, hey, Kat, what's the most overrated part of Return of the King? And please don't say the entire film. That's too easy.
The battle at Helm's Deep.
Is overrated. Wow. Okay. All right.
They followed up with like 6 more battles afterwards. You know, they're just like, I don't know. I have complaints, but we're going to get into that.
We are indeed. At Lord, go ahead. Sorry, Adam, go ahead.
I'm going to say the whole film.
You son of a bitch. At Lord Snurts for the Return of the King, did anybody else want the elephants to win?
Yes.
I say. And the follow-up, Fuck, Marry, Kill, Hobbit Edition. Sam, Frodo, and the combo of Merry and Pippin. Fuck, Marry, Kill.
This I will answer.
Well, I'm going to go to our lady guest first here before I go to the gay man. Kat, please, if you will, fuck, marry, kill.
I just spotted this on Twitter earlier, and I have given it a lot of thought. Obviously, you have to marry Sam. He's like the only stable one among the collection. And then, you know, who doesn't love a good orgy? So let's fuck Pippin and Merry, and then we'll kill Frodo because he wants to die anyway. All the joy is gone from his life by the end of this movie.
Adam, I know you've been champing at the bit, as they say. Let me hear your little Mount Rushmore of this, please.
Well, I'm going to actually fuck Sam. Sean Astin is a hottie, even with the extra weight.
A lot of extra weight, by the way.
Yeah, but he's got a beautiful face. Frodo, I guess I would marry. He seems very sweet and loyal, and definitely kill those two douchebags who ruin everything. They ruin every scene they're in. If they fucking killed them from the get-go, they wouldn't have half the problems they had in Fellowship of the Ring. Thank you.
Fair. At Taco Shirt Krillin, Kat, if you had to recast Frodo and Sam today, what actors would you choose?
Okay, so Frodo clearly has to be Timothée Chalamet, right?
Oh, 100%.
And then
100%. I agree with you.
Very good.
And then once you've got Timothée Chalamet in there, why not just make Armie Hammer Sam? Just bring them back together.
Well, the problem is Armie Hammer is now revealed to be a cannibal, and it's not good box office.
Yeah.
That's okay.
To harken back to the first episode for you, Adam, I think he would have eaten Sean Bean's dead character if that in fact were Armie Hammer.
I don't remember who that is, but yes.
I was going to say the guy with the beard, but then again, they all have beards. But he was the guy. He was the guy who was in GoldenEye. He was 006, whatever. If you look up Sean Bean death on the internet,
he was Ned Stark.
Yes, there you go, too. He's been like the most killed actor in all of film history. Sean Bean, look it up. Wow. Yes, sir. Okay, at Eric4953, never saw Lord of the Rings, so no questions, except you had nothing better to do for 3 hours.
Tell me about it.
Really didn't. Sad.
And this was your choice, mind you, as all of the movies are here, but that was... I enjoyed this choice. At Bango2331, oh wow, Return of the King is Immo. Well, we know it is Bango. If you're stating it, it is Immo. How early into the assault by the orcs would you take the header off the ramparts rather than face down that army of demons? Personally, I'm calling it after 30 seconds.
I assume that's.
I'm trying to remember which battle that was. There are like a lot of battles in this film.
Yeah, it's like the Civil War where they all have a specific one that stands out. Like, oh yeah, the battle at Chattanooga or the whatever. Out south at South Spinach. What does she think of the animated Return of the King from 1979?
I don't think I've ever seen it.
I didn't know it existed either. I just saw the cartoon Hobbit, which was mediocre at best, and that was
my jam when I was a kid.
Was it really?
Studio Ghibli version. Yeah,
no
yeah,
kidding.
because it was released from the same place as The Last Unicorn, which is an 80s classic that I was obsessed with.
Never heard of that one.
Well,
I'm an 80s kid too. I never heard of that. It was it in the same genre time as Neverending Story?
Sort of, but it's animated. It might be earlier than that. No, I think it's earlier than Neverending Story, actually.
And The Secret of Nim, which we all got force-fed in school.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that one?
I blocked that out.
Next
story.
Oh, sorry. I hated that film. I hate that film. Oh, okay. At AJ Albright, AJ Albright for 84 on Twitter. How can anyone truly rate Return of the King when the movie still hasn't ended?
I saw that earlier and thought I wanted to steal that line. It's a good one.
That's how I felt.
It's true. It's a good point.
Yeah.
Not only has it not ended for you, it hasn't even begun.
Well, this one has not. You're right. But yeah, they're all too fucking long. I can't watch anything for 3 hours.
At Brennan, Baldy Brennan, stop blogging. Kat, you're awesome, but for the love of God, how could you not love the Battle of Gondor?
I don't know what to say. It's just not my thing.
Noted.
And I'm just realizing that I think I said the wrong battle earlier. I think I said Helm's Deep when I meant Gondor. So that's my bad.
You know, I rewatched this too, and I couldn't tell you any battle and what title of any battle. It's like, not again, it doesn't stand out.
That's the problem. They all blur together.
Right. Okay. As we're going to get into it right now. So everybody, no one listens to the end of podcast. So let's give our shout outs and what we're up to first right now. Kat Rosenfeld, what are you working on? Where can we find you?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Kat Rosenfield, just my name. And I have a new book coming out. I don't know how long your lag time is between recording and airing, but my new book, You Must Remember This, is a new Gothic mystery novel, and it comes out tomorrow, January 10th. It's a Tuesday.
Whoa, I
and
apologize.
You can find it wherever you buy books.
Congratulations.
You didn't know that?
Congratulations. Adam Sank, what are you up to besides watching the wrong movies when I ask you to watch the right ones?
Yes, for the first time in 20 years, I have nothing to promote.
What?
I have no shows. My podcast has ended.
Why?
No longer on Twitter.
Why are you not ending? Why'd you end the podcast? Did I crash the internet with my episode?
Yes, you ended it. No, we had done it for 5 years, and I felt like we had done everything we could and grown as much as we were going to grow. And I wanted my Saturdays back. So sadly, we had a final episode that aired on the last day of 2022. And so, yeah, the only thing if people want to follow me, I'm on Instagram at Adam Sank. You can still follow the Adam Sank Show page on Facebook. I'm always posting new stories to it, even though we're not doing them on the podcast anymore.
Oh, that's a shame. I had fun on that. Even though your executive producer was sexually harassing me from Jump. That was hilarious.
Yes. Well, that was part of the fun.
Whatevs. It's all in good sport. Don't forget to watch Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber. I don't care that the regular fantasy football season's over, but we're still giving out hot NFL picks. That's right, 9-8 yesterday and over 58% for the year. Fantasy Football Jibber Jabber in the Facebook Metaverse. Also check out Comics Watching Comics, soon to be reappearing in the Facebook Metaverse. GuttingTheSacredCow.com. And if you want to advertise with us, GuttingTheSacredCow@gmail.com. Or if you just want to drop by to say hi. Adam, let's welcome Kat to do, which I know she's very well prepared to do, and this is going to be fun to watch the nerds listen in anger as Kat is about to gut the sacred cow.
Is there theme music or something that plays now?
Kat, that all goes in post. You should know that, but no, actually it's your first time. It'll be in post production.
That happens, and I learned that last time, so that's why I didn't do my own moo this time.
Well, I don't even hate this movie. It's like my parents always would just say to me, "I'm not mad. I'm just really disappointed." And so here we go.
Here we go.
So first things first. Context, I think, is important here. By the time you get to Return of the King, you have already watched the Lord of the Rings movies for like 84 years. You have given a lot of your life to these movies. You are entitled to satisfaction. You have invested, okay, it's time, it's prom night, the movies owe you this. They have to deliver. So Return of the King has to make good on, all of the promises of the previous two films. And that's one of the reasons why it's so disappointing. Opening scene is the first thing. I actually rewatched this movie today, and this jumped out at me in a way that it hadn't before. So for those who are maybe not in the know, the opening scene is like this origin story for Gollum, and you find out how this creature, who used to be a lot like a hobbit, became this sort of bug-eyed, toothless, shivering, hairless weirdo who just wants to like make sweet, sweet love to a piece of jewelry. And so I was really stoked, because I was like, I can't wait to find out how this transformation occurred. One of the things that I was really wondering was like, okay, well, how did he get to look so weird? But also, when did he start talking like that? Because Gollum has a very unique voice. And all the time he's like, stupid fat hobbit. So anyway, that's his deal. And it's really, really weird. So I'm very excited watching this movie. I'm like, when is he going to start talking this way? And then it turns out that he always sounded like that. And they never address it.
Very true. Like, that is a weird affect. And what kind of accent is that? Like Louisiana? I don't even know. No, just kidding. It's a weird affect, and you're right. None of the other hobbits talk like that. This is very curious at best. There you go. Kat, maybe you should put that voice on with your husband tonight for a little foreplay Randy talk. How about that?
As if I don't do that every single Saturday night.
How rude of me to not assume as much. Go ahead, keep going.
Okay.
That just missed it, Adam.
Kat is the best comedy audience ever. She just stares straight ahead.
Yeah. It's like a bunch of foreigners at a hostel show. They're just nodding because they only understand like sex, dick, fart, pussy.
See, now I'm laughing. That was hilarious. You said those words.
Yeah.
So, okay, next complaint. This is a nerdy one, and I'm not the first to point it out, but Saruman, who has been the main villain for 2 films straight, is just gone now as you get to this film. They never explain it. You're supposed to understand that he's just up in his tower, which is partially collapsed, being guarded by the big slow tree that moves and talks. And if you want to know what happened to him, and this is where the investment of time comes in, turns out you were supposed to spring to watch the extended cut, which runs for an additional 75 hours of your life that you can't get back.
Oof. Yeah, I don't understand people who do that. Like, they made a whole to-do, like, the extended dance remix of Lord of the Rings, Return of the King. Like, no, I got it all in one fell swoop. Thank you. I don't think another 3.5 hours of shenanigans is going to help clarify the story even more. Thank you.
Okay, this movie does one of my least favorite things, my least favorite tropes. There is this scene at the tower where Pippin finds the evil orb underneath the water that ultimately becomes like a big deal a little bit later on in the film. And Gandalf is like, give me that. But he never explains what it is. And all of this could have been avoided if he just explained at the time, like as he picked it up out of the water, oh, Pippin, hey, FYI, every time you touch this, it's like literally touching Sauron's eyeball, and then he can see you. But no, he has to be all mysterious about it.
Yeah, that was odd. It was like some weird Spencer's gift thing that they were carrying around, and then it sucked you in like a fentanyl addiction, and you couldn't let go. And then Kaflooey, he could read your thoughts like some kind of LoJack thing.
Yeah, exactly. A warning, a something. And then because of that whole contrivance, we get the weirdest scene in the movie, which makes me very uncomfortable, which is where the steward of Gondor is sitting at his big long table alone, eating the messiest lunch in the world, while Pippin sings a really sad song, and there's this big battle raging outside. To me, I know a lot of people die in this scene, and it should be upsetting for that reason, but it's actually just that this man eats a tomato in a way that gives me nightmares.
You son of a bitch.
Sorry,
it's in my notes.
barking.
It's in my notes right here, and I will address that as well.
I want to know more about
cherry tomato. Put the whole thing in your mouth. What is wrong with you?
I want to know more about the sad song that Pippin sings. I wasn't aware that this was a musical.
It's weird. He's slurping a singular tomato like it's soup, for Christ's sakes. And I don't know. I have an aversion to people eating anything loudly. I get very annoyed. But the slurping and the chewing, just that. If I was in Guantanamo, I'm pretty good at a lot of things. All I have to do is just have someone chew with their mouth open and all that. And I'm going to tell you where the secrets are all buried and hidden, and the codes to the nuclear football.
For sure.
We talked a little bit earlier about the battle scenes. They have had so many battles at this point that I think they almost stopped caring about making them exciting. Now they're just kind of looking for gimmicks. So in the big battle that takes place at Gondor or Minas Tirith, where the white tree is and the steward is in there, slurping the tomato, there's this whole contrivance where the dwarf, whose name is eluding me, and the hot elf, whose name is also eluding me, Legolas, there we go. They're in a competition to kill the most things. It's supposed to be people, but then he kills an elephant, and then there's this whole punchline where he comes skateboarding down the dead elephant's trunk, and
he's Tony Hawk with a fucking bow and arrow, ready to do a 720 McTwist.
Exactly. You're supposed to think that this is, I guess, the most badass thing you've ever seen, and then Gimli, the dwarf, is like, "Well, that still only counts as one," and then they literally pause so everyone can be like, "Ha ha ha ha." So there's that.
That's fucked up. Why are they killing elephants?
No. The elephants are transporting a little bit of context. The elephants are transporting all the bad guys onto the battlefield. So they're trying to take the elephants down who are just stomping over people and killing them. So taking the elephants down so they can stop that, as well as there are troops on top of the elephants as well. So that's why.
That's just like wanton elephant killing for the sport of it.
Right. At least they weren't harboring their tusk for ivory purposes.
Okay, so now I'm going to keep going with the battle thing, because there is one actually unique moment of combat in this movie. And it's the part where Éowyn kills the Witch King. And this is very exciting because it's basically kind of the only badass, boss bitch moment of girl power in not just this movie, but kind of the entire 3-film trilogy. And I want to be clear, I'm not a person who thinks that every movie has to like have strong female characters, or like I'm not going to get upset that it doesn't pass the Bechdel test or whatever. Realistically, this story is a sausage fest, and that's fine. You have two women in it, or three if you count Galadriel, but she's not really in this. So then it's just Arwen, who spends the entire movie kind of like gasping open mouthed at the camera and looking sad. And then you have Eowyn, who actually has the, this exciting battle moment. And it really behooves the filmmakers in a movie where they have so little going on for women to do this moment justice. And instead, they just kind of whiz it down their leg. They did not bring it. So among my complaints about this moment, which I don't know if I should like explain kind of more context for what happens. It's a big moment for the books and for like the kind of mythology. There's this creature, the Witch King, that can't, the prophecy surrounding him is no man can kill him. He can't be killed by any man. Right. That's supposed to be understood to mean that like no person can kill him. But then in this battle, you've got one woman who whips off her helmet and she says, "I am no man," and then she stabs him and he dies. So it's a great loophole, right?
Right.
And it's very exciting feminist moment. All right.
But can I just say,
Arwen,
I'm glad you brought this up, Kat, because I was bothered by not just the failure of the Bechdel test, but like really like just no women anywhere. The Fellowship of the King, or whatever it's called, the Fellowship of the Ring, has 2 female characters in the whole fucking movie, and they're each in it for like 5 minutes. Why are none of the orcs female? Why are none of the elves female? There are places in this movie where you can at least have extras. I mean, it's like they didn't want to give any jobs to women. And to me, a part of the why I don't like this genre of movies is because I don't want to, unless it's porn, I don't want to just watch men. I want female characters, whether they're good people or bad people. Whether they're
all right, I'm going to step in. Adam, for Christ's sakes, they were fucking medieval times. They were all men going into battle. Where are you going to see a lot of women characters? Right. It's medieval times. What, you're looking for verisimilitude? You're talking about magic and dragons and a ring that has power and speaks. I mean, this is what you're going to hang your realism on, that there can't be any women? In those fantasy worlds, it's all warlocks. Again, I don't read that shit. So let's just get this straight out there. That is not my bag. But in those times like that of yore, it was mostly dude fighters. How many other stories do you know they have besides the Valkyries that they had women fighters on the battlefields? What's that?
Yeah. Right, because all the people writing about it were men. I just think it's a serious flaw that, these movies didn't come out 50 years ago. They came out 20 years ago. They knew better. They should have done better. They didn't. End of rant.
But the books were written years ago, and back in the 70s, 60s. I don't even know. Right around then. I should probably look that up.
1930, actually.
Okay, there you go.
Much earlier. Can I?
37.
Wait, did you just say 18? I don't think that's correct either.
1937. The Hobbit was written.
Okay.
Damn.
Podcast.
So, I was way off.
I have a little bit of nerdy trivia about this that I think kind of justifies the fact that there's no female characters in the story and thus in the film, which is that Tolkien wrote this in response to experiences he had, like, to kind of represent the experience of being in the First World War and the bonds that he formed with like the men who were in the trenches with him. So it's really about that, and that's the dynamic at the center of it. So on that front, like, I'm willing to forgive him for not bringing women into the mix, because it's just not that kind of story.
That's
Good
fair.
point. That is fair. All right. Cool.
Yeah. Peter Jackson could have done that, could have updated it, but whatever, he didn't. Anyway, just to conclude my gripe about this scene where Arwen does this really, or not Arwen, Eowyn. Everyone's name in this movie is the same, which is also a complaint, by the way. And,
I don't even know. So which one was the Kate Blanchett character? Is that Arwen was Liv Tyler. Yeah. Arwen was Liv Tyler. I knew that. Okay. Yeah. They are very similar.
Blanchett is Galadriel.
There's
a Boromir, a Faramir, a Saruman, a Sauron. It's just, it's like he picked one name and then he just adjusted it a little bit to like make a new character each time. Anyway, Eowyn is running into this battle wearing this big dopey helmet that makes her look like she's cross-eyed. It's a really difficult image to get past. And then the big thing, even after this bad start, they could have rescued this moment. But the killing stroke, I've not done a lot of sword fighting in my life, a little, a tiny bit. But I have played baseball and watched tennis on television. And so I know that if you're going to scream while you're killing or hitting someone, you take your swing or you thrust your sword and you scream at the moment of impact, not before. You need to do this in a particular way. It's scientific. It puts the force behind your swing. But she screams for 7 seconds and then thrusts her sword, by which point all her oxygen is gone. It takes the entire thing out of the moment. It makes it really, really ridiculous. Not a fan.
Maybe that was her attempt of the Private Pile from Full Metal Jacket war face where he screams and then does what have you. But you're right. It's like, okay, now you're going to die.
I'm happy to know this in case I ever have to plunge a sword into someone. I will hold my scream until impact.
This is really a joke. This is too easy of a joke for you, Adam. I'm going to let that one slide.
I already made a sword fighting joke that nobody reacted to.
This is the big one, which is that this movie ends 37 times before it actually ends. The very first thing that happens is they succeed in throwing the ring into Mount Doom. Gollum falls in too by Gollum, and then the tower topples, and everyone is kind of shouting, "Frodo!" They're very excited. And then it seems like Frodo and Sam are going to die on this rock, and they have a moment together on the rock where I think it's Frodo says, I'm glad to be with you here at the end of all things. And it's like, yeah, the end of all things, except this movie, it's going to keep going. The Eagles come and get them. They're rescued. Okay, so that's ending number 1. Then Frodo wakes up in bed in, I guess, Rivendell, which is the elf village. And the entire cast comes in to find him awake and starts jumping on his bed, which, a couple of objections to this. One is that I think they're really going to rupture a kidney or something. He's just been through a lot. Maybe don't leap on top of his body. But the other thing is this movie is always struggling to not tip over from very manly, masculine, hetero, wartime, platonic bonding into straight up homoeroticism because of different things in context between the time it was written and the time these movies were being made. And one of the ways they do this is by really leaning into the kind of boyish naivete of the hobbits. They're middle-aged men, but they also are in many ways kind of like children. And usually that works. But it does not work in this case. This scene where everyone is jumping on the bed and giggling in a high-pitched, squealy way, I would have actually been less uncomfortable if they just all got naked and had an actual orgy.
Now I'm going to watch the movie.
Yeah. I was going to say, here comes the 2-0 pitch to Sank. There it goes, deep left field. It is high, it is far, it is gone. Yeah, I'm going to address that as well. So, Kat, that is an astute observation.
Thank you very much. And also, the movie's still not over. Okay, this is ending number 5. Then you have the crowning of Aragorn, and Arwen shows up, and it's like he's surprised to see her, as though they haven't been planning this huge event for months. They've reassembled everything that was broken there and gotten all these people together to crown the king, and he didn't know she was coming. That seems a little hard to believe, but whatever. And then that does have that good line though, "My friends, you bow to no one." That hits you right there in the feels.
That was a great one. It really did. Oh shit! He didn't forget where he came from. His friends, they all contributed, and that's right. We're all equals here. That was kind of cool. I completely agree. Dug that line.
Yeah. Of course, it's still not over. And now you've got the scenes of everyone back in the Shire, and Frodo is finishing his book, and he's showing it to Sam, and Sam's like, "The Lord of the Rings" by Frodo Baggins, which, love a good kind of punch over to the title, make sure everyone knows what movie they're watching. But I'm really curious because I am a huge nerd, and I remember the first time someone actually said Lord of the Rings or Lord of the Ring was back in Fellowship. So suddenly we have something that's a little bit relevant
Right.
to talk about. And it was Gandalf on top of this tower, and it's just him and Saruman. And Gandalf is like, there's only one Lord of the Ring, and he does not share power. But it's just the two of them, and Saruman is gone now. So where did Frodo get this title? Like, did Gandalf like sit him down later, and he's just like keeps telling this story? And he's like, and then I said, there's only one Lord. It was so badass.
Or maybe it was like his own Howard Stern moment. We go, well, no, I'm the king of all media. Well, who gave that name? I did just now.
I feel like it would have been known throughout the land, just as everyone seems to know everything about everyone. I feel like the expression would have traveled.
Yeah.
Did the town crier share that with on a scroll with the "Hear ye, hear ye, hear ye"? The official Lord of the Rings is now Frodo Baggins.
Exactly.
Well, that moth flew by, I guess, or the eagles, or somebody flying came by at that critical moment. So maybe they told absolutely everybody. The next ending is this pub scene, which I think is actually the best in the movie, and I kind of wish that it had ended here because it really brings home the whole point about what it's like for veterans of war to come home and try to reacclimate to civilian life, but it doesn't. Then there's this whole to-do about them going, they're gonna sail Bilbo off to the Undying Lands. And as they're riding over to the boat, Bilbo asks Frodo to see the ring, as though he does not know about this entire ordeal that the kid has been through for him on his behalf over the course of 13 months of his life or something like that.
Right. Yeah. It's like asking a recovering alcoholic, hey, you got a bottle of rum around here? I can, anything laying around here I can get my hands on? Like, dude, really? You're gonna do that again?
Yeah.
We did this whole dance. Remember the part where I walked 85 miles with hairy bare feet across magma? No? Let me.
And Frodo's like, oh, I'm sorry, I guess I lost it. And it's like, okay, or you could say what you did. Like, how does Bilbo not know that they threw the ring into Mount Doom? I feel like everybody knows. Everybody knows the hobbits did it.
Even I know that, and I didn't see the movie.
Exactly. Okay, so there's that. And then there's this whole goodbye scene at the harbor, which is the penultimate ending of the movie. There's still one more ending after this. And the entire thing is filmed in kind of like 1/4 slow motion, so that as it starts, you feel like you're hallucinating, like you accidentally took mushrooms, and then the scene begins. And they use a lot of stunt doubles here, except that the stunt doubles are they went with the lowest rent possible stunt doubles, because it's clearly a child with huge prosthetic feet just flip-flopping and waddling his way over to the boat. And this is the last that you're going to be seeing of these characters. So it's kind of I don't know, it makes it ridiculous at a moment that should be kind of somber. And then there is this whole even more super slow motion goodbye scene that mainly serves as a showcase for all of the actors to show that they can cry on command and really do it well, except for Elijah Wood, who doesn't cry. I don't know if that's because he can't or because Frodo has no emotions left inside him anymore. But this is the last that you see of the main characters. And I don't know, I think that's a little bit of a ridiculous goodbye. I think it all makes them look a little bit pathetic.
Wow. That should be the dagger in the coffin, I assume. Kat, give me a scale 1 to 10, your thoughts on this film.
Oh, rate it? Oh, with each rewatch, and I've rewatched it so many times, I like it less. So I think I might be down to a 5.
What was your initial score at the first watch?
Oh, I fangirled the hell out of it. I was like, this is a 9 or a 10. I still got wood, to quote another movie.
A nice quote. Okay, now rank the trilogy here.
Ooh, okay. I think in order, it's probably Fellowship, and then Two Towers, and then Return of the King. Maybe the last two are interchangeable. Maybe Return of the King is better than Two Towers. What do you think?
I'll let you know in a minute. When I give my notes. Adam Sank, let's kick it over to you. Anything jump out at you from Fellowship of the Ring that you want to share here before we?
Quite honestly, I feel like if I had watched the other two aren't there 8 of them?
No, there are this. So yes and no. This is the original, the trilogy, the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Then they came out with The Hobbit, which is actually the prequel to this. 3 films. I don't know, 5 years after the fact, Cat. Correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds about right. So there are 6, but they did it. They you know what this is? This is like Star Wars and the prequels. They in that exact order. So yes,
I feel like my problem with this genre of film, with all apologies to you lovers of fantasy, it's the same thing over and over and over again. Every scene is just another battle, and it sounds like Return of the King is very much the same. It's battle after battle after battle, and they always face unbelievably terrible odds, and there's no way they can overcome, and then they overcome, and then they move on to the next battle. It's so tedious for me. I really had to like slap myself across the face to keep paying attention, because I thought that I was going to be talking about that movie. Also, I will say about Fellowship, there's this very strange 20-minute interval about 10 minutes after the movie begins where they're in the Shire, and it's like this ridiculous farce. There's all this silliness. People have crazy wigs, and there's beer drinking and dancing, and it's like a totally different movie. The tone is so weird and so not like the rest of the movie that it's like watching The Princess Bride, and then suddenly you're watching, The Thing. It's completely bizarre. And I hate when movies do that. I don't like when there's a dramatic shift in tone. It went from being like a children's movie to like a horror movie. So that's my critique of that film, and in general of the genre itself, and why I'm not a fan of these kinds of movies. I could say the same thing about Star Wars. I don't like Star Wars and that whole trilogy, and that's why.
Oh, for Christ's sake!
Although I did enjoy the first Star Wars a hell of a lot more than I enjoyed the first Lord of the Rings.
Okay, well that's fair.
The end.
Adam, 1 to 10, your thoughts on Fellowship of the Ring? Might as well milk this cow for what it's worth.
Also a 5.
5. Okay. These notes brought to you by guttingthesacredcow.com, where you can find some sweet merch, hats, bags, mugs, cell phone holders. Yeah, I know. Cock rings that say Frodo was here. Heyo. Guttingthesacredcow.com for all that. Notes. Smeagol looks like he'd fit right in on a Megan's Law poster or selling meth at a McDonald's in Dayton, Ohio.
He's done both.
Not surprisingly.
Isn't Smeagol the puppeteer who does Triumph the Insult comic dog?
Smigel is Robert Smigel. But you're close. I'll give you a circle gets a square, Adam. Smeagol chokes that guy out in 15 seconds for the ring. It takes more than 15 seconds to choke a man out, because Adam's been doing that in gay club bathrooms for over 30 years. Adam can attest to that.
Hello.
Sam and Frodo must have copious amounts of sex together in this journey, because I think that kind of love is forbidden in the Shire.
Sure.
The amount of exposed thank you. The amount of exposed feet in the first 4 minutes of this film must think that Quentin Tarantino had a part in directing this film, and would also send former co-host Kevin Israel into inconsolable rage. He's anti-feet. Yeah. Not a feet fan, nor am I, but he's more very viscerally annoying for him. I hate old-time drinking songs. Like when they get together in the bar and they're singing and they're doing all that stuff. Cat, that annoys me. I don't care what film it is. I don't care what time period. I hate those old English, throwing back the nog ale, whatever you want to call it, and then having I don't know. I hate that. It annoys me. Not a fan.
The great sea shanty trend of 2020 must have been rough on you. Sorry, I didn't mean to step on you.
No, that's okay. Smeagol talks to himself more than a homeless guy jerking off in the subway.
Do they generally talk? I feel like they just grunt.
They do, and they stare at you. They stare right down at you, and if you break eye contact, you're the gay one, right? No. The ring and the eye of Sauron must be metaphors for crack cocaine, because everyone in this movie is doing everything in their powers to steal these things.
Oh, I do want to point out that my gay friends and I, when we were watching Fellowship, every time they showed that evil eye, when someone would touch the ring and see
here it comes,
we We're pretty convinced it was just like a vagina on fire.
I was going to guess a brown eye that you're going to say, but I'm wrong. But I'm glad I'm
looked
wrong.
like a fiery vagina, and we're already afraid of vaginas, so it was not a good.
I thought if you look up fiery vaginas, you see a picture of Hope Solo. Remember that? Remember that shot? Google that. You'll be a changed man, maybe. Probably not.
That is.
She was that soccer player who put her nudies on the her shit got exposed on the internet, and her vagina looks like a melted grilled cheese from 1964.
Oh no! I hope she put them there voluntarily, and it wasn't like a revenge porn.
I don't know, what have you. Liv Tyler, quite the classic beauty. What happened to her? I had a thing for her back late 90s, early 2000s.
Now dude looks like a lady.
Oh, waka. Hey, it's hard to hate Hugo Weaving in anything I've seen. Hugo Weaving is a goddamn treasure from across the pond, and I enjoy him, and again, everything I see. The orcs, they speak better English than people from Mississippi. Let's throw that out there.
Truth.
Did you notice when Gandalf was galloping through the castle, Cat, at top speed, nary a worry about trampling a pauper or a whelp? He's just running through that castle breakneck speed around these corners, not even checking out his blind spot. Ugh.
Very reckless.
Think how awful everyone must have smelled in medieval times. Yes, like the restaurant. It smells like people taking a cross-country Greyhound bus ride.
I feel this way whenever I see a movie like from the 30s. I think like how much everyone must have stunk before deodorant and like daily showering.
We talked about that in our Gone with the Wind episode with all those layers they wear in the summertime. Can you imagine the odors that just emanate from their wardrobe? Ugh. Smeagol rooting through the Hobbit stuff like he's trying to take cab money out of a one-night stand's purse or wallet. That brought back memories, right?
For me, it did.
Anyone else get viciously nauseous watching that delusional king eating those tomatoes? This is worse for me than watching someone get their leg chainsawed off.
Thank you.
I feel like I need to watch.
Deeply upsetting.
It is. It's so unnerving. I have ended dates short because of horrible table manners. I don't care if she's a 9 or 8, 9, 10. I have walked out. I cannot deal with people who chew with their mouth open and smack their food. Yuck. What a lucky bastard Orlando Bloom is. He is in the 2 top grossing franchises of all time. He also got a kinda sorta in her prime Katy Perry. Now, she is losing her mind, but hey, it's like signing an athlete to a 10-year contract. You get 4 or 5 great years, and then you overpay for the decline of their career. Still a smoke show, though.
And most importantly, he's got a big penis.
That's the rumor. Actually, the photographs prove that
not a rumor.
true.
We know it. Yeah, it's fact.
The spider scene is fantastic. How do you not get a kick out of that? Although, I did not know that spiders make audible snarls. The spider is making
totally
noise.
do.
Yeah. But hey, listen, if anything what movies have taught me, like Jaws 4, sharks can scream out in pain. If you saw Jaws 4, you'll know what I'm talking about. And if you saw Jaws 4, you just donate an hour and a half of your time to not even charity. Smeagol went out like a bitch more than Boba Fett did in Return of the Jedi. Gets tossed over a cliff and that's it. Yeah, that was a shitty payoff. But he comes back later on. After a 100-foot story fall, eat my ass, Peter Jackson. No one's buying it. Or Tolkien, he wrote that. I guess he's following the script. The thought of being covered in web by a hairy animal frightens the shit out of me, but I bet Adam Sank circles that date on his calendar.
Hey-o!
The king who, I don't write down names because like you said, Kat, all these names sound the same. The king, I call him the king who lost his son, would probably benefit from the jester teaching him CPR instead of singing sad, sad songs. Oh, by the way, he should really make sure his son is dead before deciding to off him and his son Viking funeral style. How about a glass underneath the nose or a 6 Mississippi before putting your fingers under his nose before saying, you know what, let's light this bitch up. Speaking of that moment, pretty sure if you cover yourself in oil, you don't hold a match in your hand and then get a 3 Mississippi before your body goes fully ablaze while standing in the middle of a funeral pyre.
I've done it.
Speaking of done it, you know what would lighten the mood of this battle? A bunch of Scots lifting their kilts and slapping their asses. Oh, wait, I grabbed Adam's notes if you would watch this film. The special effects are 20 years old and they hold up pretty well. The battle scenes are spectacular with the effects. You can't dog the effects. You can dog the length of the time of this film. When Gimli, Aragorn, and Legolas appear in the final battle with the ghost, it's almost like the Avengers Endgame scene where, on your left, where they fight Thanos. I'm sure in this super extended director's cut dance remix, Pippin and Merry moved to New Zealand together and raised sheep.
Confirmed.
You're obsessed with sheep, Kevin Goatee.
It's New Zealand where they shot it. New Zealand has more sheep than people. Thank you for knowing the facts here. You're welcome. Sam climbs 45 flights of stairs after being told by Frodo to pretty much piss off. He climbs 45 stairs back up to Frodo where he's not wheezing, doesn't need a 15-minute break to catch his breath, and has enough strength to kill Smeagol, by the way, who fell 43 stories. I'm supposed to believe that Smeagol, who is built like a Somalian pirate from Captain Phillips, can hold off a fight like that long? That doesn't happen. If you couldn't figure out that Frodo was going to have a major conflict before getting rid of the ring, you need LASIK and self-realization classes. This end is more homoerotic than Stallone and Carl Weathers frolicking in the surf at the end of Rocky III. The only thing missing were short shorts. Rocky 3, by the way, my favorite Rocky of them all.
You know what? Mine too.
Mr. T and Hulk Hogan in the same film. That's what you wait, hold on. Kat, what did you say? Your husband hasn't seen it?
I said no, now I'm the one who hasn't seen the movie that we're talking about.
Rocky 3?
I'm not going to say it's a better movie than Rocky or Rocky 2, but it's the most fun of the first three.
He's the best villain, Clubber Lang, in all three of all of them.
Yeah, I agree.
All right. Just to be clear, my husband has definitely seen Rocky 3. I don't want rumors to start here on this podcast.
It's like, Kat, it's time for a divorce, post haste. Oh. This was the first film that won the Oscar that truly deserved it, because the Oscars have been shit for so long in that period for the longest time. What has been spurned? Pulp Fiction, Shawshank, LA Confidential, all those films spurned at the Oscars. This won Best Picture, and it deserved it. I loved it when it came out. It's still a good movie, although I love to meet those monsters who paid for the 4-hour plus cut of this film. Christ, how many elf/dwarf fight songs do you need to see? And how much more walking through forests do you need? Look, I like this film, but this gloriously fails the remote test, except the final battle scene. The remote test for you, Kat, is if you turn on cable and you stumble upon any part of the film, do you drop the remote and say, I know what I'm doing for the next half hour, or whatever? This does not. This film definitely drags. It drags a lot. 3 hours about? No, thank you. This could be at least 2.5-ish, and I'd be completely fine with it. Like Mickey Mantle, this has, like Mickey Mantle's liver, this has too much fat on it. It needs to be chopped down. I still like this film. It's a 7 out of 10 for me. It is the best of the trilogy. It goes 3, 1, and then 2. The Two Towers was nothing but walking. If I wanted to see that much walking, I'd watch live footage of the New York Marathon, which bores the piss out of me. So, that being said, let's go to critics' 5-star reviews. Peter Jackson's place in cinematic history is cemented with The Return of the King, and now Star Wars seems like a film made a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. First of all, reviewer, eat shit. Star Wars blows away this franchise, and it ain't even close. The Return of the King is really the heart of the cinematic masterpiece. Almost needs no review. If you liked or disliked either of the first two films, this one offers more of the same with the emphasis on the more. And get ready to have a coronary, Cat. The best part in this movie the best part in the best movie trilogy of all time. No, not even remotely true.
Which critic said that?
I didn't cut and paste their names because, I'm not going to give them the spotlight that they seek or deserve.
Fuck them.
Critics, 1-star reviews. The atavistic Christians versus Moors narrative doesn't belong in the present day, and that's no doubt why so many people are addicted to it. It's so ideologically overstated that can easily be brushed off as harmlessly quaint escapism. This reviewer is an asshole. How about that? President, who says it's Christian versus Moors battle? Did you guys get that narrative? I sure didn't.
I'd have to refresh my Moorish history before
Right. My
Maybe
Moorish
it's in the extended cut.
Yeah, my Moorish history goes back to Robin Hood, and I learned that Morgan Freeman was a Moor, and that's what I knew about that. Next,
I know they were in Spain.
when we talk about, also Africa too, I believe, when we talk about Jackson's directorial style, what exactly are we talking about? The ability to judge a production this size is a feat, but what else does he bring to it? All right. Almost nothing in the ultimate J.R.R. Tolkien episode rings true, least of all of its empty spectacle of digital effects. The sum is 2 towers and more of babble. Ha! Puns!
Cute.
That seems to be the go-to for anyone with an English lit degree when it comes to the humor department, Adam Sank. Overlong.
That definitely was not from the New York Times.
No. Overlong takes itself way too seriously, and a case of much ado about nothing. Amazon 5-star reviews. Perfection! I said it! Actually, no, you wrote it. Hey, simply put, the greatest movie ever made for the greatest story ever told, and that means better than the usual classics, such as the Homer, parentheses, not Homer Simpson for the illiterate, Tolstoy, Shakespeare, Dickens, Goethe, and other long-dead authors. Much better than The Matrix, better than Star Wars, better than Titanic or than Spider-Man, The Godfather, Citizen Kane, Metropolis, Finding Nemo, or Gone with the Wind, or any other movie I have ever seen, which includes virtually of all of the AFI Top 100 Films list. Eat our collective asses.
Better than Gremlins, better than E.T.
Better than Leonard Part 6, better than Howard the Duck, better than Police Academy 5, Assignment Miami Beach. This film is not better than The Matrix or The Godfather or Spider-Man. What Spider-Man we're talking about.
That movie was written just to make people mad online.
It 100% was.
Total troll.
Next one. It's interesting how much this movie has with the Big Bang Theory, the way the 4 friends sat around a lunch table, and Samwise as an actor in the last season, and of course, the episode where they fought over the prop ring. And this movie certainly has a great selection of melancholic songs. Anyone who invokes the Big Bang Theory in a movie review is branded a simpleton in my book, and you are cast out of any serious discussion. Go hump your blossom pillow, pal. Or gal. I spent the equivalent of a full day's waking hour in front of my big TV this past winter with just the 2 sets of the 4 Harry Potter films and the 3 Lord of the Rings movies. I am not a couch potato. Well, at least it was time well spent. Finally, some movies that really make the grade. I've been hard-pressed to find a good 5-star movie that I haven't seen. Signed, the star of the newest season of My 500-Pound Life, because no one is able to sit still that long. Even me, when I watch 11 hours of football on a Sunday.
The title of the show is My 600-Pound Life.
Oh,
but you're very kind to lop off that 100 pounds.
Hey, maybe they went to Doctor Now and got that gastric bypass, and they're almost on their way to their goal.
Same show.
Is it?
Yes. Dr.
I just pulled that out of my ass.
Dr. Now is the star of My 600-Pound Life.
I love you, Adam. Thanks for having that back.
So much. That's all he says to them.
Amazon 1-star reviews. I personally do not see how any of the supposed fans can rave over this fiasco. Destroyed the books and ruined what I consider to be one of the best fantasy tales of all time. Most, not all, but most of the actors stank. Elijah Wood was terrible. Did the actors, for that matter, the director, even read the series at some point? Look, I don't want to rant completely over the butchery over the proper tale. Yet, there was no real story here. All the depth and nobility of the characters was horrid. I can truly understand the necessity of cutting aspects out for time, but the director really blew it with what he chose to keep and invent.
Internet troll.
I'm going to go with obsessive fanboy.
Right? Someone, go ahead, Adam.
To say those are not good actors or that they didn't do a good job. I mean, I didn't see that this installment, but I can't imagine that those actors didn't act well. They're good at what they do.
This wasn't Tommy Wiseau from The Room in here going, oh, hey, Tom, where's the ring? Deep cut. Thank you.
You're killing me.
Oh, hi, Mark. It was okay. The dude from Rudy was okay, but if he had the ring, we wouldn't need 3 movies to melt the ring in a volcano. Would have been more interesting if Captain Jack Sparrow made an appearance. I guess the girl from the Aerosmith videos was cool. Better if she was naked, bit. I guess it was okay because it was PG. Dumbledore sucked. Merry and Pippin? I should have rented Mary Poppins. Next time, I'll rent The Hobbit to waste time. I love this movie.
What a charming insight.
This sounds more like an SNL character audition than it does actual reviewer.
Yeah, that's a school shooter in the making.
Where were you in Uvalde last April? This DVD... Thank you. This DVD I bought is Canadian. I can be very, very particular about my movies, and the contrast between the English and the French is distracting and annoying as hell. With this, I will have to buy The Return of the King for an unwanted 3rd time since the other version I bought was Canadian as well. I do not want any more Canadian movies from Amazon where I live in America. I do not want this to happen again. Signed, Rick Moranis.
I don't even understand what that means. I thought these were shot in New Zealand.
No, his DVD he got was in French as well, and he was very upset. I love writing people who think that Jeff Bezos is going to catch a glimpse of their review and then go, oh, you know what? I'm going to give Mark 7452 a refund.
By the way, they speak English in most of Canada.
They do, except Montreal, but you're right. Gotcha. Hey, Adam, did Kat Rosenfield gut the sacred cow?
I mean, very astutely. She convinced me to never watch this movie.
I like how you watched the wrong movie and you still like, yep. Don't even care. Still good to go for that gutting.
I can't imagine anyone making a more cogent argument than she did as to why it's not a great movie.
Congratulations, Kat. Adam thinks you got it. I have not changed my score, but that's okay. I enjoyed having you on, Kat. You were fun. You were a blast. Get Kat's new book out tomorrow. And by the time you hear this, it will be out. So go to check out Kat Rosenfield at katrosenfield.com. Adam Sank no longer on Twitter, but find him on Instagram as well.
What's the name of your book, Kat?
Yeah, shout it out again. Go ahead.
It's called You Must Remember This.
Excellent.
Sounds like you must remember not to watch Lord of the Rings, Return of the King, huh? Okay, you got it. Kevin Goatee, Adam Sank, thanks for sitting in as co-host again. I appreciate you, pal.
Sorry I didn't watch the correct movie, but I had a blast.
I hope you and your gays watch the right film the next time you come on this very podcast.
I promise, especially.
Thanks again, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.